booked a show in Brooklyn, New York. For like September 13th, 2001. Well, something happened on September 11th. Fucked everything. I was gonna go do the show anyway, and I don't know what y'all did over here, but over there, everybody got sort of frozen, you know, after it happened. You know, nobody wanted to do anything. They just wanted to not even go outside because they were like anthrax and buildings blowing up. I don't want to do anything. You know? So my drummer wouldn't go with me. My bass player wouldn't go with me. I won't go through the whole thing, but a lot of guys wouldn't go with me. So I said, I'm going to go anyway, right? So the guy that hooked me up with the gig, an old friend of mine, says, listen, would you please bring my baby and her mother up? Because I haven't seen them in a while, and I'd like to see them. I said, sure, I can do that. So me and my fiddle player, and this lady, and this baby, she was about 2.5 years old, jumped in the van and we got on the road and went to play the gig. 6-hour drive that turned into a 14-hour drive because everything was all screwed up. Had to bypass Washington, D.C. because they blew up the Pentagon and we couldn't use the highway. So I did the show. Came home and I wrote down my thoughts in my journal, you know, private thoughts that I was just going to keep to myself. Then people started writing songs about it. I started hearing them like things like, where were you when it happened? I don't know the difference between Iraq and Iran. I just and people were writing songs like that. Well, about the same time, this movie came out called Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I hate that movie. And I'll tell you why I hate that movie. There's a scene in that movie when you have the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan open his mouth and Ralph Stanley's voice comes out of it singing Oh Death. I'm from the South. And I just, you know, I'm sensitive about the Klan. And I'm a white guy, you know? It's bad, it's not funny. And I understand that Oh Brother, like, created a whole subculture of people playing acoustic instruments and bringing the guitars and the fiddles and what's that other thing, Kevin, the country people play? Mandolin. Bringing the mandolin to the forefront, you know? I mean, but that doesn't make it a good movie. But I digress. That movie was supposed to be based on the Odyssey, correct? Right? Well, I read the Odyssey after I saw that movie, right? I mean, short of stealing a few characters from it, there's nothing about it. You know, the Ulysses, you know, the Cyclops, you know, there's a few things.
Sirens.
Oh, the Sirens. They don't say Sirens. Do they really? Oh, that's the other thing. You know, they make fun of people. Hillbillies. That's what that movie's about, making fun of hillbillies. You know, a lot of my relatives are hillbillies. Anyway, I read the book and then I thought to myself, You know, the Odyssey bears. And I thought to myself, when I took this trip, it was like an odyssey. I'm going to take a crack at it, so I started to write this thing. Well, it didn't come out any better than our brother were out there, as far as its accuracy of, you know, carrying the Odyssey to a new place. But if you listen closely, there are references. But back to my trip. Snow in the yard this year seems a little hard, and is lasting longer than it usually would. I concentrate quietly at the news on the TV, but soon turn it off, 'cause it's doing me no good. I try to revisit, I try to remember, I try to recall all I saw in September. Blue Star Highway lay out before me, a woman, a child, and a friend by my side. Man said you better not go up there that way, but we set out anyway, eyes open wide. Calypso music, that's one. We played as you choose as we drive beneath the heavy sky in September. Like Nestor, we navigate, there's another one, New Jersey Turnpike, a wild ocean interstate, the island of the sun, that's another one. Man, at first I did not realize what I was getting into, but soon knew this journey was a personal one. The fruit on the vine filled the air with its perfume so strong. It would not be long, September dawn. Go Falls to Verrazano took what seemed like 40 hours, standing like soldiers, shoulders to shoulders. We sang out loudly that song by Woody Guthrie. The dusty old dust just made it all seem that much farther, relieving ourselves in the back seat in a jar. How much farther, September? Red Hook exit, how did we miss it? The lights in the streets and the docks in the dark. Phone that number one more time, how come nobody answers it? Well, all I know is it's somewhere near Prospect Park. And just across the river, you could almost feel the heat and the spark, waiting to greet us, September. Exhausted, we climbed up flights of staircases, said our hellos and we shared our embraces, then off to the show where we held their attention and sang them songs about loss and redemption. Now when we got there, we found out that the show we were doing was a benefit for the fire station that was right across the street from the bar. Turns out these guys were the first responders because they were right at the base of the Brooklyn Bridge. And at that point they were lost because there were no bodies so much. Then we met the men who had actually been there and spoke of their friends that they would never see again. I said I did not think I had the nerve to go over there, but they said you better remember what you see. And I'd pack my gear as they and all the girls disappear into the streets of September. Very late that night, from a fine Brooklyn rooftop, I saw what I suppose I had already seen. A mass of white smoke rising up into the darkness, and the mercury lamps and the clattering machines. I rested my head on the ledge. I had to sleep. These thoughts would keep September. When we hit the sidewalk, everything was covered in chalk. The air tasted bitter and the sun burned my eyes. I asked a guy right next to me, hey, where did it all happen? And he pointed up, and all I saw was an empty sky. I raised my camera, snapped a picture of nothing, and I sighed. How many there died? As we moved in closer, I got the answer. 100 trucks filled with steel and debris, 200 policemen and 300 soldiers, and hundreds of people standing around just like me. I couldn't stand it anymore, so I walked along the river and I grieved. It was all I could bear to see. Just then I seen sheets of icicle falling, and all the while bitter wind constantly calling. A personal memory I can't help but dream, and I wish that I had never been there to see.